Hey guys, all you guys out there, ooh, guess what? They're here. Yay! Yay, we're alive. Okay, so today we've got Modib, Tantrum, yay, and we also have DaButcher, and still waiting for anybody else who wants to join. Say hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
So, Modib's taking over the show today, just for you guys so to know, because he's got a list of things that we're going to talk about. Wait. Hey, what's the number one?
Well, number one, it's caused a few people to get upset. But that's how I do it. And Steve knows exactly what I mean. That's repos, safe repos, not safe repos, and the, I guess you call it the Tantrum Teverz repo list. Repo rating that we're doing to help you all know a little bit better if a repo is safe or not. And there's been a few that don't like being on the naughty list.
Ooh, yeah.
But it's something that we're doing now. We both did a quick video for the site. And Teverz, I mean, you've been the one that's done a lot of the review, going through them. And you've noticed some things that I didn't even know about with it, like the extension
Oh, yeah.
and everything. And I'd like you to go over that as far as just, what you've noticed and how some things that may not be good about them, why they're not, and, it's stuff that we've overlooked in the past.
Hey, well, what a lot of people don't realize is that I'm hearing myself in the background. Anyway, what a lot of people don't realize is that, okay, when you're looking at an add-on XML file, right, it's got, the imports, the requires, but a lot of people don't realize is that down below in the extension, you can actually call from another repo inside of there as well. So, you go through the imports and you think, oh, there's nothing in there. The other thing I've been really noticing a lot is, there's a lot of repos out there that have, a lot of the Kodi stuff in it, but almost every single one of them, their add-ons that they had listed were outdated. So that wasn't a threat either. But it's been fun. The worst repo that I went through was that TV Tuga. It honestly took me 5 hours to go through all of the repos that it called for. Wow. And then there was quiet.
There was a place to jump in.
Yeah, no, it was just amazing. I'm enjoying going through the list of all these things. It's kind of fun, and people out there are like, well, that repo was bad, and I had a big argument with Diamond about one of the repos. Oh, AJ's repo, and he had. You remember when TV Add-ons was using offshore Git?
Yep.
Okay, well, in AG's repo, it's so old, it hasn't been updated. It's still calling for that stuff, and I'm trying to explain to Diamond that's not a harm because there's nothing there anymore.
But could somebody take over that?
Well, I think offshore Git is gone.
Okay.
But he brought up a really good point that, what if somebody else had that same name of a repo in theirs that was bad? And then I said to him, I says, well, if I marked the repo as bad, then that would be anybody who had a YouTube add-on in their repo that could overtake, right? Whether knowing it's bad or not, could do the exact same thing. So I couldn't really blame the repo for being bad because it really wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, that's one thing that some people may not realize is Teverz has been reaching out to these guys and be like, hey, I've seen this. Or they may come to him and, they're getting straight down. And it's not always their fault. They can put stuff on there that may not be out there anymore, not being actively developed, but, an add-on to their uses. And it could be overwriting other stuff, that it's not out there.
I gotta pause. Yeah, I did the same thing. Okay, give me a sec. Okay, you guys are back on live.
Woo! Check, testing 1, 2, 3.
Oh, wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
Darn.
You got to be all fancy with the dual screens.
Yeah, there we go.
Dual. I got more than two.
Yeah. I go simple. I go simple. Simple's better. More moving parts, the more things break.
We won't discuss my desktop then.
Okay.
Okay, it's my apologize to all you guys out there. Sorry, we now have sound back, and there's those handsomely great guys beside me. There. So we started off the topic, guys out there, about the repos, the naughty and nice list. I've had a lot of positive people come back and say thank you very much for this. They didn't know, good, way to go. What about you guys?
Go ahead, Tantrum.
I think it's great. I mean, it like I said, it's helping out the ones that may have put something on theirs that they didn't even realize, was impacting others. And those are the great guys because they, if we mention it to them, they correct it. They have no problem doing that because they understand. And that's part of the goal behind it. I mean, not just to keep everybody safe if we can, and give them a valid, respected place to check, but it lets them devs know, hey, we found something, and the good ones will ask and correct if possible. It usually doesn't take much on their end to change it, and a lot of times it's just stuff that they had on there they forgot about.
Yeah, because most of the time these guys are just trying to help. When they add stuff to the repo, they're trying to help their friends or family, or if they're using builds or something, they're trying to help people. And they're like, well, I'll make it easy for you to come find all my stuff, all these add-ons or dependencies or modules, whatever. I'll put them on my server, and guess what? It'll make it easy for you to come here and get it. And then they forget about it. Things become outdated or things change. I remember, if you go back a year ago, having the Covenant repository or having Colossus repository wasn't an issue. Well, it is now. So maybe somebody added the Colossus repo last year when it was fine and it was being maintained. Now it's not. Or you can go, the Salt's repo or TK Norris's repo, and they're not safe anymore because those guys left it and somebody else took it over. And it opens a door that they could do something malicious with it. Not that it has, but it could give the opportunity.
Exactly. And Review Dork recently did a video that I just absolutely loved it. I'm going to probably do one similar for my subscribers and shoot a link to his video in the description here, maybe even today, on the web end of Kodi and how it can be used to run malicious code on your box and get data off the machine, things like that. And these other repos, they can do that. When Colossus shut down, they shut the GitHub down. And we've seen this in the past. People will remake that exact name so it shows up just like the old one did. And as soon as Kodi hits that and it's working again, if you haven't removed it, bam, it's going to start pulling stuff off of there, and they can do anything they want at that point. And that was kind of the drive behind this list when all these other repos started popping up again.
Oh, especially the Colossus one.
Oh yeah, exactly. And you had just YouTubers galore out there doing videos. Hey, it's back. Do this and add this. And I'm like, oh God, no.
And then there's people that read code. I mean, there is certain scripts and modules that are in popular add-ons that have been around that you could do some dangerous things because just the way that particular add-on works. I remember when Mid was looking at some different code for some very popular add-ons, and he says, that's a dangerous script right there. He says that in the hands of somebody that wants to create some problems, he says that script right there, or the module it was calling, he says that could be edited and made into to doing some things that people wouldn't want done. And some of that stuff is in these add-ons, So especially when you talk about abandoned add-ons and abandoned repos, you're just opening yourself up to risk. That's for most people. Most people are not like us that are going to look into, investigate, try to learn about, and find the back ends and the ins and outs. Most people like this. I want to watch my TV show. I want to watch my movie, and just they want it to work.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's the reason we did the list. I mean, and while it will help the average user out quite a bit, it's also going to be really super helpful for the people doing builds, because it can give them a place to know where what to include, what not to include in their builds, since builds are so popular anymore. And that's how everybody wants their setup to be done, is using a build so they don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, for the most, yeah.
Let somebody else worry about updates. And it's gotten bad with all these add-ons going down there for a while. I didn't update my build for about 2 months, because you didn't know who was going to be there tomorrow. They were dropping off, coming back, and then dropping out the next week. And it was, and so, I mean, how many people? Actually, this week I was working with a guy, and one of his family members has a Kodi stick, and that's what they call it. He's got a Kodi stick, and he says, "Yeah, Kodi's broke. It don't work no more." And the guy I work with, of course, he talks to me, so he knows that it works. And he says, "No, it still works." And he says, "No, my Kodi stick's been broke, and it hasn't worked for months. And so I bought it, and I can't even use it no more." So there's so many people that bought these pre-configured sticks or a cheap box or whatever, and in their mind, it's broke because they don't know how to update.
Yep.
And so it's and in a way, I actually am happy with that, because I think less uninformed sheeple that are in Kodi, it's almost kind of better for everybody, because they're really not here to learn. They're just here to click and then complain when something doesn't work.
Oh yeah, really? No, they don't ever complain.
Yeah. What do you mean track doesn't work?
The nice thing is, and when I was unemployed, I sold devices for a little bit, and that's why I did my own build. This is what got me into the community, and I've had some really great people locally that I dealt with, because when they had an issue, they did go out and learn. I did a lot of videos around questions I got from them, and I would shoot them the link to the video, and then they go watch it and they learn. But of course, just like you're saying, there are other people out there, they don't care. They just want it to work. And it's nothing against them. I understand that, but that's probably where APKs are better for them, like Terrarium, FreeFlix, Mobdro, LiveNet TV. I mean, that's something that's probably better for if you just want to point and click. Those are probably better, unless you want to learn some.
Yeah, and that's the thing with me. All my family members, because I think there's been a handful of people I worked with that have asked me to give them a device. So I've done that, and for family, and that's it. But most of my family now, when they come and I fix a box or fix something for them, I put Terrarium, I put FreeFlix, and I'm like, you know what? If you don't want to mess with Kodi or worry with Kodi or worry with all that stuff, guess what? Just use this. Now you're going to have an ad, and guess what? It's going to be updated automatically, and it's I don't want to say it's foolproof, but it's pretty simple.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I did the same thing on anything that I set up, family, friends. I always install like 5 different APKs. And that way it covers the basis for all that too, and that's the main reason why it gives them options. If you don't want to mess with one, or it's broke, and it's not updating or something, you still got the other one, so you can still enjoy what you're wanting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I just noticed top tutorial joins. I was pausing you guys. Sorry, I was just thinking, Modib, wouldn't it be really cool to get him on that reviewers discussion next week?
Oh yeah, we could. We just so you all know, we got if it comes off how we're hoping, we got a really good show for y'all next week. We're gonna have several YouTubers on here and with us. So, and it's gonna be ones that are kind of same mind as us, but they have different views. on different things around Kodi, but they have the same mindset as us. They're out there to help, and they do the research before they do a video. And so I think it's going to be a great show next week with them.
And that's one of my pet peeves. If I can rant,
you can rant.
One of my pet peeves is YouTubers or whatever that install and review and make a video on an add-on they've never looked at, or a build they've never looked at other than right here live. Here's the look of it, and they fumble around trying to find stuff. They don't talk about what's unique about it because they don't know. They click movies, and does movies come up, popular movies? Well, sure. I mean, but how many other add-ons do the same thing? I mean, that's not something unique. And you watch them, and they're walking through a brand new add-on. They've never looked at it or even opened it, and they're making a video because they want to be the first out there to make this video, or they want to be on the front end of making it. Why not look at the video, at the add-on, check it out, play around with it, look in the settings, figure out the settings, then make a video so that you have a more informed way of making a video. But so many guys are racing to get that video out there to try to beat everybody else because they want to, grab that AdSense. And to me, when I see that, I see why they're making a video. They're not making a video to inform people or to educate people. They're making a video to try to beat this other guy to get the clicks. And it's like, really? And so when, for me, when I see that, that's enough. I don't have to crack on them on their comments or bust on them on Twitter. No. I just understand what their motivation is. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then you got people like me that rant and be like, oh, I can't believe this idiot.
Yeah. And most of the time in comments, I do try to, if it's something that I'm related with, I will try to correct information. And I don't blast them. I'll just say, hey, if you'd have looked, that was in the settings, or that was this or this, and I'll just say it, or this is being worked on. To me, if I was going to do a video on any of the Blammo products or stuff that's in y'all's repo, I would watch y'all's videos. I would watch your videos on the updates and what it is, because you're going to have a more informed decision or information. I'm going to watch your video. I'm going to understand what you understood. Then I would make a video to show, the add-on. But because I would have done a little bit of research to understand how it works. But not everybody does that. And to me, I'm like, why not? I mean, it takes 15 minutes to...
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And one thing to note, there's, I think, at least that I've seen, 2 YouTubers, and both of them are in this video right now, that when they've done a video on an add-on that has a news and update feature, that actually show it, point it out, say it's there, what it's for, all the others completely ignore it. And I'm sorry, that irks the crap out of me. It doesn't matter if it's one of my add-ons or somebody else's, because that dev put that in there to keep the users informed. And you're skipping the biggest feature of that add-on by not even pointing that out to the people watching your video.
Yeah, that's got a good point.
I mean, that's just my take on it. You know me, I look at everything a little bit odd. But I mean, that's kind of the big thing for me. And Teverz, that you and me always point that out. Yeah. And there's a reason it's there, so
I go through every link, so
yeah, exactly.
I was just thinking, I saw Team Jarvis in here, Neo, and I'm thinking, I finally did his review on his repo yesterday, and I let him know in chat that was absolutely the most cleanest add-on XML file I have ever seen. And Critter actually made it, and he came back. I thank Critter for it, because truthfully, like they put out the comment line for under each add-on explaining what each add-on was in that file. Like,
oh, awesome!
I know. Like, everybody should write. I gave Critter compliments, because even I don't write that well.
Yeah, mine's just made from a Python script, so as far as the Tantrum repo, so I can't say anything.
Cheater.
Hey, it's great when I can just update the stuff in my private SVN and double click a file and it's done and I upload it.
Well, the truth is, when when I first started making repos, I used that generate repo file too as well, but I can write it by hand now.
I made changes to it, made it to where it would copy the fan art, some of the other needed files.
Yeah.
And everything, and little things like that. I set it to ignore PSD files, that way I can keep my templates in the folders with them, things like that. But tell you what, let's go ahead and let's see here. It's 20 after. Let's move on to my second topic, and this is one Butcher hit with me the other day. What's that?
Pins. Wasn't that on the next one on the list? Or VPNs?
One of the two. I mean, those are the three topics anyway. So, yeah, we can do pins next. Oh, yeah, it was number 2. Pins and such. And the first take here is just from an end user standpoint. There's been a lot of add-ons in the past, and even more so here recently. UK Turks is the most recent one, to require you to use a pin to get their add-on every 4 hours so they can spam you with ads. And the biggest argument is, well, it's to cover server costs. And if you got 10,000 users and you're making them every 4 hours go do that pin, and usually these pages have at least 5 to 10 ads on them. They cover server costs in like, what, 2 days for a month?
Yeah, it depends on well, Google ads don't pay very much. So
no, but I mean, like my site, you've got admin on my website. I've got Google AdSense on there, and so you see my traffic, and it don't generate hardly anything, but 600 views a day is like 5 cents. But if you got like 10,000 users and you're showing friggin' 20 ads, you can do it pretty quick on the pin sites, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, okay, not sticking up for those guys, but we don't know what their true expenses are. We don't know what kind of server they have. No, like, I personally am not opposed to the pin. Like, I don't use them. If you're going to put an add-on out and it requires me to go back every 4 hours, I got my fingers stuck up at you like that. Because trust me, I ain't doing it. And I just remove UK Turks out of my build because of that. Because you're right, most of the people out there, they don't like that. I mean, people bitch about doing open load pairing. But I mean, I'm not going to blame a dev for wanting to go that way. If that's what he wants, that's his choice.
Yeah, well, and one thing to keep in mind, at least all the add-ons I've seen that do it, they host those files on their server. It's not like Placenta, Neptune Rising, and Death Streams and all. It's not a scraper. Usually it's files that are hosted on accounts that they set up. See, what is it? Seedbox, things like that. Those are the majority of the add-ons that use it. And I can understand that. I mean, I've looked at those in the past, but personally, I ain't got the time to deal with that. So I just go the scraper route.
Yeah.
But
and that's the reason why some people, things like Covenant or Exodus or Death Streams, or you guys, even if you quit developing it, that add-on would continue to work because of the way that it's built and what it's looking at. It's not really looking at the things like Turks, the way that Turks is laid out. It's looking at XMLs and it's looking all over the place. And if you ever look at his add-on, it's got lots of XMLs. I can speak from the Bob team and the expenses and the traffic that we've had on our add-on. And I remember when we first came out, people bitched and cried that, oh, it's slow. It takes forever to load a page. It takes for this, that. Well, it's because of the traffic, and our hosting so many times kicked us off or blocked us because of the simultaneous connections. And I'm not talking about just one or two, but we had, I think our stats last month were 4.5 or 4.3 million unique IPs connected to us in a month. Now, a unique IP resets each day. So that person, if they connected into Bob for 30 days in a row, that they would count as 30. But if you connected multiple times in a day, it only counted as one. And so it was over 4 million hits on the server. So it can be very large, and most hosting is not going to let you do it on a $10 a month host. That's just, it's not going to do it because you're share hosting. But it's, you know, we've tried different ways of using cash and different things to relieve the pressure off the server. So I don't knock anybody that's doing it. I understand they're in a situation. We were in this situation where we talked about it, and it was pretty much shot down within 10 seconds. But we talked about would we do that. But the only issue I have with the pin stuff, and again, I am a little bit, I look at there's a lot of snakes in Kodi right now. Yeah. And who is running these pin sites? Because if you roll back to XUnity. Remember when XUnity was pushing a VPN service?
Yeah.
And then that VPN service, then he went against that VPN service, said that guy's a ripoff. Then all of a sudden, XUnity had to leave the scene due to some personal issues that he had going on, that he was being whatever. So he left the scene. This VPN service came over here and says, hey, any developers that want to join us, come join us. We'll give you free hosting, and we'll actually even give you a kickback on the money. They said that on Twitter. It was, you'll earn money from making an add-on. So they offered that. I remember me and other people bitched and had a fit about that. You're going to make money off of an add-on? That's not right. So then that quietly went away, and then all of a sudden now we have this source that's offering add-ons, a host, and it's a pin set or a pin system. And it, to me, being the skeptic that I am, and I know that there are people here to make money, is that the same snakes that went from the VPN stuff that offered the host that went away for a little while, and now you have this new people that are hosting, that are offering hosting. Are they the same person or the same group? And so now they've worked their way into, as you said, making money off of ads. And if it's a small add-on, it's not much. If Turks is a big add-on, what if Bob or or Pyramid or Maverick or somebody went to them? You're talking a lot of money. So who are you getting in bed with? You're getting in bed with people you don't know, and who knows what happens to your information if you're the developer side of it. You're getting in bed with them, and who's to say what happens down the road? I don't blame Turk for what he's doing. I understand he's a good guy. He's trying to keep his add-on going. But it worries me who he's partnered with. I mean, and that's just my own personal thought.
Yeah, and there's ways if, and I'm not going to knock any dev, because you know, I know probably 8-9 different programming languages. All right, I'm an anomaly, and devs, there's always the option or ability to do it yourself. And if you have that knowledge, great, you could do that. I understand where it's easy to jump on board with somebody who already does it, but I mean, they could even make their own couple script page that people go to. They get a pin, it saves it in a database on the server, and then they use an API within their add-on to pull that key back to verify that that person just got that pin. You know, it's not extremely hard, but at the same time, like I said, I can understand the desire to, like, I ain't gonna do that. They already do it, so I'm just gonna jump on board with them and do it. But there's still that option out there, and that way you don't have to only get a cut. You get everything that you're wanting out of it, and you can control it better. I mean, you know, to put it simply. But that's just my thought on that.
Hey guys, say hello to the lady.
Oh, Blue joined.
Hello, Blue.
Hi guys. Just ignore me and keep going.
So Top Tutorials did point out a point, and I kind of like that idea. Like, if you're going to do a pin, right? And if you made it more than 4 hours, or if you do 12 or 24, I'd probably recommend it more. Like, or I probably wouldn't be as bothered because I only have to go in once a day. I'm good, but.
Oh yeah, something like that. That, I mean, and I don't know if that is a restriction that this service provider has put on it or not. But yeah, I mean, if you do it once every 24 hours, that'd be fantastic. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind it if, even more if, they gave you the option. It's like open load, like was mentioned earlier. You can disable open load and not have to pay it. And open load's every 4 hours. You have that option. And I know I've seen devs do this, and this is not something that I'm against or condemned for. I've seen them put on their add-ons. They'll have a line in the menu that says, hey, if you get a chance, go to this address and click on a few ads. That's enough. That gives people the option.
Turks did that for a little while. Remember, he did have that for a little while, and I don't know if not enough people would do it, but he did have where I don't want to say you'd see him tweet once a couple weeks or 3 weeks, hey, can you guys click on some of the ads to help me with server costs this month? And so he did try that route. I know that he's tried numerous routes.
Okay. It makes me wonder if a module could be made for devices with browsers to give people the option to do it straight from within Kodi that way.
Yeah.
I'm not adding a project to do that add-on or module. It just makes me wonder.
I'm just thinking, well, maybe, Real DeBride's out there and helps us out with the pairing for, streams. But what if somebody put the service together where, you pay $40 for the year just to be able to use an add-on so the money can stream down to those guys as well?
Yeah, but then tracking money, and money's traceable, and, that's, and if they wanted to go after the particular dev that has created that, and that money's easily traced. So
yeah,
I don't know if I'd ever want to get into a situation. I mean, we wouldn't even ask for donations, because you get into that and it's almost like you're panhandling. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you can avoid it. Like, we had a benefactor for a server a while ago, which was really.
Oh, somebody. Were you showing off your boobs again for that dude?
Always. Where do you think that we get all this free stuff from? The boys ain't gonna do it.
Well, I don't think he's interested in him anyway.
I offered, but he said no.
I've said this many times. Taking one for the team.
Yeah, there you go.
I was gonna say, I don't know. Todd's boobs look pretty good, so.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
Hey, Dennis,
he usually does pull them out, though.
Well, okay, so here we go. This gives me an idea. Dennis, don't forget to send me a picture of your boobs later for helping out.
Being quiet.
Okay, so sorry I'm late. You guys covered what exactly so far?
We covered pins, which actually we're kind of still in a bit. We talked about the naughty and nice list.
Okay, the repo list?
Yeah. Do you got any words on that, Blue, while you're here?
I agree. I mean, it's that's a tough one, though, because it depends on who's doing it, right?
Yeah.
Guy who hates your guts, but you have great add-ons and a great repo, he might throw you on the naughty list. But I don't think, it's a matter of this works or this doesn't work. And if somebody's list is, their repo is a little shoddy and a little whatever, then you throw it on that. But I don't think you'd do it just because you didn't like the guy that had the repo. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't like ciphers, but you'll notice I gave him an okay on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I noticed that. I was kind of wondering about that.
That would have been my only concern with with a list like that, is that people are a little biased and whatever. But if you're unbiased and making it, then great. I think people need to know where to go and who they can trust.
Well, that's my whole. That's the whole thing I've been doing as I've been reviewing these, and I probably should have let that know at the beginning of this video, right? I have a criteria, and I don't care if I like the people or I like the add-ons or I don't like the add-ons. It's not about that. If they don't meet the criteria, like if I go in and I see YouTube bump, you know, I'm already, you're bad. You shouldn't have had that. You should have kept the original. You're out. If somebody had one in there for the Python coding, and they were 2 versions up from the official one, and I'm like, okay, that's bad. I'm not even going to go and bother to check the code because you shouldn't have done that. But that's the criteria, and as long as you met the criteria to be on the nice list, again, if I don't like you, it doesn't matter. You met it.
Yeah, don't be bumping up other people's repos numbers.
Oh, that, and I tried to explain that to, I had an argument with another dev in his repository. It's like, why is that? We remember that one, Carnage.
Tantrum sucks balls. Oh.
Yeah. But I tried to explain that to him, like the only thing that was wrong with his repo is that the common, the Tomio common, but it's, the schism. He's one version up. Now, I don't think Schism's going to come out with a newer version of it, but he didn't make any different changes to the Schism. And I said to him, I said, so if an official comes up, right, nobody's going to get it because they're stuck with yours.
Exactly.
Yep.
And why even have it? Because he's gone. And he's I mean, we know him. He's done. He says, I'm done with this. He's moved on.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
why even have people's repos or stuff that you know are gone?
Mm-hmm.
Why even put it in it? I don't see the reason except for people want to be the all-in-one, come to me and don't have to worry about everybody else. Trying to be popular kid in class or something. It's not about that. It's about are you useful? Do you have a purpose? And don't try to be everything to everybody.
Yeah, and here's the thing. If you want to use it, if it's going to be a code base in yours, and there's no official repo, go ahead and fork it. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, in some of the files somewhere, whether it's a disclaimer or something, or even if you do videos, you know, just make sure people realize, you know, it's a fork, and you're good to go. I mean, you know, change the name, change the folder name, and you're good to go. And he knows how to do that. A lot of the stuff in his repo was forks, and there's not a problem with that. He even came after me trying to, you know, hey, what's your problem? You fork stuff too. It seems like bullshit. And I'm like, yeah, and I tell people it's a fork. You're the only one bitching about forks. We you know, as Teverz said, he was talking about the version number and all that. If you want to fork it or keep using it, go ahead, do that. But don't leave it the same name, same folder name, and just continue increasing the numbers. You know, I made a mistake. I did that before on the start of a fork one time, and I immediately changed it when it was brought up to me. It was the first time I'd ever forked anything and done stuff like that. And as soon as it was mentioned, I immediately changed it. And I understood why. So, I mean, you know, that's all that we were asking. But he went on his typical rant, threatening other developers and all kinds of people. I mean, it got kind of ugly, but and all just because he didn't want to change a name.
Well, and I think that's where some people get confused about a fork and a clone. A clone is we just took your add-on and maybe we changed some of the names in it, and that was all we did. We did a copy and replace. So we replaced names. Maybe we changed the art, and then we stuck it out there. That's called a clone. There's nothing. You took one and one, and they're the same. And then there's a fork that you've taken a base. Let's go back to the Genesis. You take it as a Genesis so you took Genesis, and then you made changes to it. You added code. You've taken away things that you didn't want. You added new things, and it goes down its own road. Yeah. And it's almost like a fork. It becomes more and more different. You remember anybody that had Bob on the very first Bob? The very first Bob was a fork of Phoenix. Now, when we first released it, people were like, oh, you just got a Phoenix clone. Well, no, we created it, and it was a fork, and Mid had made changes to the code. People wouldn't know that. They're looking at the screen, and they're like, oh, it looks the same. But there was things done on the coding side. But then 6, 8, 9 months down the road, if you took the two add-ons and looked at the code, they were major differences between it, because this one had went this way and this one went this way, so it became a fork. And I think that too many people.
The only reason to actually fork something is because you've approached a developer and said, you know what would be really cool is if you added this to your add-on, and he says no, bugger off, and you would really think that might help that add-on. And I could see forking it off so that you can add those changes to it. There's no other reason to do it unless you want to improve on it and they're not willing to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you want to make it your own.
Exactly. Otherwise, you stick with them, because what's the point? There's no point in having 80 add-ons that are identical.
Yeah, and I mean, just like and it's been brought up to me. Well, Placenta's nothing but a clone of Covenant. It's like, you haven't looked at it lately.
Exactly. No, it's not. It's a fork. Those two terms piss me off so much because people don't know what they're talking about.
Well,
when you're relying on dev to update so that you can update yours, then you're using a clone.
Yeah. Or you have the same fixes that somehow they had the day before. All of a sudden, you have those exact same fixes. Wow, how did you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the greatest thing, Blammo found this on Reddit, and I literally just died laughing. There is threads now on Reddit, people wanting to know how they can script it to keep getting updates for Placenta and just rewrite it to change the name.
Oh my God. Like, what's the point?
I don't want to explain it to my kids.
Well, I thought that your actual explanation in Reddit was pretty good, and I'd like to say that had a little something to do with that.
Oh yeah. That was almost a direct.
You know what? Grow up. You're first to tell your kids what placenta is. Like, really? It's not that embarrassing.
Oh, and by the way, let me see if I can find this real quick. Someone responded to that comment.
Oh, they did they?
Oh yeah, they're like, well, do you even know what placenta is? Or don't tell me that you think
obviously they don't.
I was like, really, dude, you're gonna sit there and go that route?
Or you could say, I hate a band.
Huh?
You cut out there, Blue, for a sec. Okay. She must have fell over drunk.
Yeah, she muted. Let's see here. Let me go to that. Yeah, here it is. Here's that thread. I put, why hate on placenta? It's the sac that keeps a baby warm and protected while it blossoms into a beautiful human being. It is part of the beginning of life, haters. And like I said, it's pretty much a copy paste of what Blue said. And then somebody responded with, "You think that's what a placenta does?"
Oh, well, come on, we're not getting fucking technical here. But essentially, that's what it is, jackass. There's always trolls, though, eh? There's always something. Oh,
Reddit is the best for it now. I mean, Twitter used to be the troll.
It's not technically a sac. It's a thin membrane-like substance. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, jam it up your hole.
Yeah, no, I have been a member of Reddit for years, and I mean years, a heck of a lot longer than I was on Twitter. And I have, after listening to you guys, I dread going on there right now.
Honestly, though, I mean, if you're too embarrassed to talk to your kids about something like that, then you should be ashamed of yourself as a parent. Like, seriously.
Oh, yeah.
My God. Well, you didn't name scrotum. You could have gone and worse.
Oh, there was some good names floating around, but for some reason we just went with placenta after I said, "Oh, my team afterbirth."
Although, you know what? Technically, we could have used the sac thing again for that. It is the sac that houses the future development of a human being.
There you go. That's all right. I told A-Train that the next adult add-on needed to be called, let's see, what was it? I said speculum.
Oh God, speculum. That's grosser than placenta is.
I said they mentioned about placenta. Wait till we do one called speculum. They'll really die then.
Oh, seriously though, yeah. Now I'd be more embarrassed explaining that than I would placenta. Oh my God, you named that on a boom? Yeah, what's wrong with that? Yeah, there's always whiners. You know, the funny thing is, I almost said something on Reddit yesterday. I wrote it all out and I reread it to myself, and then I thought, you know what? It's so not worth it because some jackass is just going to come back with another stupid comment, and it'll just go on and on and on. I'm like, it's been said, or you know what? Hey, there's a band out there called Placenta. That's what it's based on. Now shut up.
Yeah, and I mean, come on. I used something that's one of the variants of the Tree of Life for the icons. I mean, you know, come on, people.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like the picture I shared on Twitter that Neo Jarvis did for us the other night.
Well, I mean, sorry, Cheapers, are we allowed to swear on here?
It's not an 18+ show, but you can go ahead.
Yeah, I won't then. But no, I mean, you put that on, go F yourself. You know what I mean? Like, now try explaining that one to your kids. It's way worse.
Oh, yeah.
You know, with the actual words that I'm not going to say.
Now you have to do a manual review of your video because this may not be appropriate for all ages.
I might.
You'll get that from YouTube. I had that. Hey, I had that today. I saw it on my Elysium Light thing. It says not suitable for all. You need a manual review, and I'm like, what is up with YouTube? And
oh, I get that all the time because people report stuff.
This wasn't even. I mean, I guess someone didn't like my Elysium Light. I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No. That's on. See, anybody who's under 10,000 subscribers, that's pretty well every single video we have to manually view. Every single one of mine.
But if you're over that, you're fine.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'll tell you, not everyone, because I did 2 other videos last week that did not get flagged. The Elysium did. And now I have. The only good thing is that I'm over 1,000 views on the video, so they'll give me a review and they'll say, "Oh yeah, well it doesn't."
You know what? There's a possibility that because that's kind of a big deal, like it's a new add-on out there in society or whatever, that the YouTubers that want to cover it have reported you. So they can jump on it and make them and then shoot it out there and get more.
Well, really, the only thing they're going to gain, I mean, because I'm not in it for the money anyways. So, I mean, if it stops the ads popping up on my video, so, I mean, if I have to wait, if I get a check, like, what's that, every 6 months or something anyway, so it's not a big deal if I have to wait another month to get my $100. I mean, who cares? So
yeah, exactly. And every placenta video I do gets flagged anyway, so
oh my God.
That's understandable.
I'm going back here for a second.
That's just wrong.
So Blue says, "Oh, I'm not going to swear on here," but by that point, she'd already had swore 3 times.
You know what? That's totally true. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'll be more conscientious from now on.
She's used to being on my show, which it depends on which show it is. Some shows I don't mind. Some shows we try to be a little bit more.
If it's a complete instructional video, then no. But if we're shooting the SHIT, then yeah.
Yeah. Morning, Sam. Okay, so should we head off onto the third subject?
Oh, definitely. And this is one, Teverz, that we had in discussion after the video last week. Only for, like, literally 0.2 seconds. But I seen a video last night. Mitch did one over on his channel. And so I immediately looked it up because it was something I didn't have background knowledge on. And the Butcher briefly mentioned as far as not trusting certain providers to me. And this is on VPNs and
oh yeah, good
safety, stuff like that. And he did a video saying, well, there was this law change last year. I didn't know about it, da-da-da-da-da. They can now sell your stuff. Here's the thing, people. They've always been able to sell your stuff.
Yep.
That law he's quoting was for ISPs. Didn't even involve VPNs. And if a VPN where they can come under fire is if they say, we don't log it, we don't sell your data, da-da-da-da-da, then you have something against them if they do it. There's been several out there that did that. Hala was one of them that did it. A few others, they got caught. They were saying they weren't doing it, but they were, and they were selling the data. And if you read the fine print, their privacy policies, their user policies, they'll stipulate in there, the ones that say no logs are done, that there are certain things that are logged. If they block anything, they have to log in order to do that. If they say they filter out certain things like malware, they have to log in order to do that. There's no way for them to do it without it. So it's more of a, it's not who's safe or not, it's to be informed. And there is a site out there. Let me see if I can get the link here real quick.
Oh, is that the
called
Restore Privacy?
RestorePrivacy.com. And what's that, Teverz?
Actually, I'll just put the link up for us. That's the one you sent me, right?
Yeah. They have a ton of great information on VPNs and everything else. It's a very neutral site that gives you what you need to make informed decisions when it comes to VPNs, anonymity, things like that. And they don't pull no bones about it. I spent a lot of time on that site even last night, just going over it to kind of do a quick review of it to see what I thought about it and the information they had on it. And if you're going to consider a VPN, which anymore, unless you're doing torrents, there's really no need, in my opinion, if you've got like real to bread. But this is definitely a site to look at. It's got almost everything you're going to need on it to see to it that you're informed before making a decision.
I brought it up on the viewers are seeing the page about the bad VPNs.
Well, honestly, guys, don't you think that a lot of it is, a lot of these VPNs have popped up just in the last few years, Kodi-specific VPNs?
Oh, yeah.
A bunch of VPNs out there that were, I don't want to say safer because I'm not 100%, but that weren't by some Joe Blow that just wanted to make some money in Kodi.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of them, and there's even some that were legitimate that had nothing to do with Kodi before that jumped on that bandwagon. Simply because it's a niche. I mean, let's face it. There's millions upon millions.
I myself, I use PIA.
So I used a Brid. Like I said last week after the show, I used IPVanish for a few days, and just I wasn't impressed. I mean, did it work? Yes. But I used a Brid. I don't do any add-ons that use torrenting, so I don't play links that aren't the Brid. So it was kind of null and void for me. It really didn't benefit me, so I just didn't bother with it. Do I like what VPNs have to offer? Yes, if you're informed about that VPN.
Does it actually work? No.
Yeah, I mean, and if they log things, here's the thing: your ISP logs and sells your data anyway. So, throwing a huge fit about VPNs doing it, that's nothing new. You're late to the game, guys. If you're going to do a video saying, "Oh my God, they're doing this," unless you're doing it to let people know. But if you're flipping out saying, "Oh my God, I didn't know they were doing this," you need to stop doing it. This justifies everything I've said about them in the past. That's incorrect. Let's face it. Facebook sells your data. Google sells. Everybody sells your data. So there's nothing new on that. It's just you need to be informed. Mm-hmm. It falls back on kind of the staple what Teverz and me always do and say. Making sure you're informed. You've got the right information. You've got it from a valid source, a respectful source, which is why I went out there last night.
Sorry, the site that you're looking at that he's posted, do they give certain companies that are good views or?
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, they even have reviews of specific VPN companies.
Yeah, I'm looking through some of them. They do have reviews. They give you pros and cons to each one. Gives you speed tests. I see some speed tests here. Where they're based. I mean, because some of these, if you're a person that's worried about being tracked, and then some of them are based in the U.S. or in the U.K. Well, if you're so worried about the MPAA or ACE or whoever, and then your VPN is based in the U.S. I don't know if that would be, if that's my concern. I don't know if that's where I'd want my VPN hosted at, because it seems like it'd be pretty easy to subpoena that.
Yeah,
Exactly. And that's why, you know, as I kept looking, this was a site that I kept coming back to. And as you look over it, you'll see why. You know, like I said, they don't pull any bones about it. They're straight up. They're honest. They give you, you know, the exact information you're going to want or need. Which is why I really like that site. I sent Teverz a post. I was going to make it on a comment to his video, that guy's video, but I didn't. I just felt that, you know, hey, you know, we'll just cover it in this week's show, and I'll leave it at that. You know.
I just noticed that question in that, and it was about knowing whether or not you are clicking on a link that's torrented. I mean, obviously it's based on the add-on.
Yep.
What right now is Pulsar still out there?
Mm-hmm.
Quasar.
Pulsar's one, right?
It's still out there.
Bubbles? Does Bubbles use torrents?
It's Gaia now.
Gaia
And
torrents?
Yeah, he has used torrents. Which, if you go through the 10-minute setup, yes, you can turn on torrents or turn off torrents, but it takes about 10 minutes. 10 minutes to set it up. It's the longest wizard I've ever clicked on, but it's very informative. A lot of options.
So any more?
There's a few of them out there. Believe it or not, Castaway torrent's still working it, if I'm not mistaken, and that add-on hasn't been developed in a year and a half. But I know some people out there that still have it. I had it until recently, and it does torrents. This is something that falls back on the YouTubers again, because if you're doing a review of an add-on that does torrents, you want to tell people about that.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's a big thing. That can get you blacklisted by your ISP if you don't know, and then you're just, you know, for lack of a better term, up shit creek.
Yeah.
Once
Nice
they,
there.
So I mean, you know, that's another thing to watch out for and know about with add-ons. A lot of them, though, they're pretty straight up. They'll tell you. Anymore, a lot of the developers will put in there if it's torrents, or they'll have something in the settings that points it out. So it's always good when you install something new. Go through the settings, go through every menu, everything. That way you know the add-on better. You know what you can do, and that's just one of the reasons why.
Yeah, I go through the tools or settings even before I even start the add-on. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's the first thing I do is I go straight to the settings, see what all I can do and what I can control.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. And that way I know if it's a gen hooker or not.
You call her a hooker.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, Butcher Blue, my small little tiny pet peeve about Elysium Light, I knew automatically that it was a gen template because I found it in the music add-ons. You know, under that part under there, what you know, it talks about what it does. And the gen template, it automatically puts video and music or audio and video.
They're supposed to actually fix that when they're building it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he could. There's also that XML folder that could have been removed, but.
They taught in the video though that we made. We said, okay, if you have audio, it's going to show in the music add-on. So if you don't have any music in your add-on, take.
Well, and ARB put it together, and he was new to it, and he and I said it in my video. He was the Twitter and the Reddit and on the Noobs and Nerds website. He was always the one answering questions, and he found that Elysium has some issues, and the same issues people complain about over and over and over. And he's tried to fix them, he couldn't fix them. So when he was talking to Blue and I on one day on a Hangouts, we're just discussing it, and it was brought up that you could always put all those same features in a gen and change the icons and change work, and it would look like Elysium, but it would run off the gen template, which doesn't have a lot of that extra code that's not needed. And he's like, well, that's an idea. So he took off with that, and got some help from Blue on a little bit of stuff, how to make the template. And like within a couple of days, he made it and says, hey, look what I've created this. And Q kind of liked the idea. Now, it's not perfect. It will be
Well, that's something we can
tweaked.
fix.
But yeah, but he was just, it was his first add-on that he'd really, other than messing with a little personal thing, but that was his first one, and he was just messing around, and we'll see what happens with it. I said in the video, you know, it may replace Elysium, may not, but Q isn't super excited about some of the code that's in Elysium. It's just, some of it's, when you're talking of Lambda's code, and then Schism's code on top of it, and then Q's code where he's done stuff, it's almost like Band-Aids. You know, you're Band-Aid. You don't always know Lambda's code from what a lot of the developers say is not the easiest thing to read.
Yeah.
You tweaked some of it, though. But yeah, you know what? Thanks for pointing that out, because we'll get him to take that out in the next release then.
I thought you were
guys
actually. So, and now, I just want to pause for another. When I was going through Elysium Light last night, actually, all that went through my head was, this is a fork. This is a fork of Oculus.
No, fork.
No.
Yeah. Well, that's
You know what? There is one downfall to this whole gen thing, and it is that when we started out, it was basically to give people a base, right?
Yes.
And here you go, functioning. Now go off and make your own lists. And Mid made it really easy to make lists, because now all you got to do is make a tracked list, and it'll integrate it. So you don't even have to do it really the old school way. But the problem is, everybody's like, hey, I made a list for girls' movies, and I shared it, and then somebody else shared this, and then they all ended up going into a shared list. So now what's happening is that people are all using the same lists. So it's, I keep saying, like, make it your own. You can't just use, because it's like you said, it's like because he didn't make anything more than what's already available to everybody. He needs to make some of his own list. Trademark, you little.
Even with her skipping and pausing, I think we got the gist of all that.
Yeah. She's got to stop living in the boondocks, move to a real
No,
city.
she's got awesome Wi-Fi.
Sorry, was I all choppy there?
Yeah, you were just a bit.
Okay, did you understand what I was saying though?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we got it.
Yeah, there's too many people that have the exact same list. They need to effort in.
Yeah, just put a little bit. She's saying just customize the list a little bit to make that add-on look a little different than somebody else's.
Yeah, and make lists that nobody else has. I mean, there's all kinds of weird crap out there. Make a cool list that nobody else has.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the only one with reality TV.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, good.
Reality TV, my favorite.
Housewives.
Yeah, it's got 115 trash shows.
And
Yeah,
now-
because my life sucks so bad I want to watch see how other people live.
I was gonna say that's why he's divorced now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it does have. I mean, but yeah, because I'll tell you how my list started back. Blue was doing. She was doing all the TV shows, and she was doing The Walking Dead, and so every week she would, of course, update it. And Walking Dead, boom, it's up there. And I said, "What about Talking Dead?" She says, "I don't do reality." I said, "Well, it's not really reality. It's a show that you need to watch, or people like to watch after The Walking Dead. They like to watch The Talking Dead. It talks about that episode." She says, "I don't do reality." And so I had to ask, I don't know, 3 or 4 times in a row. And she says, "You know what? I told you I don't do reality. And if you want to do reality, you can do it yourself." And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that list because I want to watch The Talking Dead after I watch The Walking Dead. So my reality section started. And then my daughter's like, "Well, I need The Bachelor," and they made Bachelorette, and it just became more and more. Then it's like, okay, now it's all reality shows, and which I do like.
1 second though, just to be clear, I was not bitchy like that about it. I just said I don't do reality.
Okay. I won't use the language that she's used a couple times when I asked it the third time.
I was gonna.
That's because you were persistent.
I had my hands full. I had like 180 shows I was updating all the time.
Manually back then.
Then yeah.
That's another reason. Personally, I'm pro scraper for my own work.
Yeah. Well, even then though, when the latest episode was out, DB only showed the first 4. Once you got You have to go back there, grab the number, rebuild it manually. It was like, oh, shoot me
that'd be
now.
a pain. See, it's one thing, and I just never got around to doing it because shocking, I already do so much anyway. I was actually at one point going to look into doing a Windows app for maintaining your XMLs. That way it loaded them up and it looked kind of like a database interface.
Yep.
And you could put, plug the information in and just hit save from a nice
Yeah,
clean
we
interface.
actually, in there, we had a generator.
But I started writing the API libraries to pull stuff from the sites and everything, and I'm like, I'm leaving other stuff behind, so I got to get back to that, and I just never got back around to it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, you don't even need to, eh? Like, things have changed.
I was just noticing Sam making fun of Oculus on there. I think he might have a thing for trademark.
Him and Blue both. Blue kicks him out. I got to bring him back. Griff kicks him out. I got to bring him back.
It's kind of like the room pet, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's a pain in the ass.
He's not that bad. She can be sensitive sometimes, and sometimes you get her at a bad day.
Whatever. You got to stop blaming it on that. I don't like disruptions in my room. I like it nice and neat and people helping each other.
So what you're saying is you don't like the same question asked 4 times within an hour because they don't want to scroll up?
Exactly. You know what? That is trademark to a T. Like, I'm not effing saying it
again. Later alive, as I see you on here, bud. I love trademark. I honestly do love him. And I get the whole point. I mean, yeah, he's the same person asking the same 4 questions in an hour. I got it, but overall, he's still a good guy, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a bad guy, and
we all have our own little annoying traits.
Yeah,
I don't. I have 0 annoying traits.
I knew that was coming.
Where's my? I got a list.
Actually, Blue, yeah, I can say actually it depends on who you ask, Blue, because for a lack of boob shots, that could be a bad trait.
Wait a minute, and I've heard there's been a lot of bad things talked about with Blue.
What do you mean?
There's been a lot of people that didn't like you.
Oh yeah, well they can go scrub.
Oh,
we got a scrub word. What?
You know how it is. You can't please everybody. Yeah.
And we wonder why Blue gets along so well with our little group.
Yeah, your group's awesome.
Blue is perfect in her world, and her world is the only one that matters.
That's right.
You know how it is. You can either let all that crap bother you, or you just go, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I everything bounces off me like water off a duck's butt.
You know,
Yeah,
my,
that makes for a dirty butt.
Takes a lot to get me mad. What?
Teverz reminds me of Diesel.
Yeah.
Just easy going, laid back, yeah, whatever, man.
You like Jack?
Sorry, and Teverz, pretty much.
It's because of all that marijuana I did in my teen years. It's mellowed me out, man.
Wait a minute, that didn't help me at all. May have had something to do with the LSD mixed in, I don't know.
Way back when. Wait a minute, I'm still the oldest in here, ain't I? Never mind, I'll be quiet. Yeah.
Are you allowed to say how old you are?
That's up to you. I'm turning. I was born on Groundhog Day, just to let you know. That is the absolute most important day of the year because I was born on it, and I'm going to be 52 years old.
Oh yeah, you are the oldest.
Yeah, and I am the best looking one in this group right now too.
Might argue with that.
Yeah.
Well, I've never seen Blue's boobs, so far I'm winning.
You said you got better boobs.
He probably does.
My triple D's, yeah.
Is that what you are, Triple D?
Well, that's
Like
what.
that dude on Fight Club.
Oh yeah. I met a guy. My wife's in college, and I met a guy at the college whose boobs were bigger than my wife's, and I was like, holy crap.
Get his number.
Todd's a lonely man. So, I think we've covered all the topics today, though, haven't we?
Yeah. The last one was that VPN one. Wanting to complain about that and make sure people know and understand and have the correct info, rather than just somebody saying, I was right, but everything I'm telling you is wrong.
I am really looking forward to next week's, though. Like, covering about reviewers. And it's not just, oh, Diamond's 57, you liar. Anyway, because I know that Tantrum and I have that personal pet peeve when we see reviewers. And it isn't just the YouTubers, it's the bloggers and that, who say, hey, this is good, And the Super TV Tuga, I mean, that was the first one that really started it with me, because that was probably the worst add-on to throw on for all the stuff that it threw in there. And I'm watching these guys who've got 100,000 subscribers saying, hey, this is good. And all that went through my head, honestly, was you owe a responsibility to your viewer, because if it wasn't for them, you ain't getting your friggin' money. How dare you give them bad information? And that's what really went through my head.
Yep. Well, exactly. And we've both done videos on different repos, and that's why last week I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's do an actual list. Let people know. That way they don't have to wait on us to do a video when they ask us about a repo.
Yeah.
And we've got a few guys that's actually just gone out there looking, and if they don't see it on the list, they throw it in the submission form.
Yep.
And it's good, it's bad. I mean, it bombed us real quick. I think at one time there was close to 30 submissions in 10 hours.
We've had 30 a day.
Yeah. And I mean, eventually it'll slow down, but I mean, that tells you how many repos are out there too.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's good, there's bad, and then there's ones that, like we said earlier, they just the devs that put them up, they don't realize what can happen from something they put on there. And we have no problem just saying, hey, here's what's going on and why. And like Teverz has said, ones he's talked to, majority of them have no problem. They're like, oh crap, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
And they correct it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, every Joe Blow with a wizard has a repo.
Yeah. And that's mainly because you need the repo to help see to it that your items are kept updated as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to have one, I guess, for a wizard, because if you keep things updated in it, it's going to keep itself going.
I have on mine. It's just my own add-on. That's it.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it pulls dependencies from where I need them, but the actual other people's stuff is not mixed in with mine.
Exactly. And I mean, like Tantrum has, and I've actually got to go through it today. The stuff that's needed for it as far as dependencies. And the main reason for that is because I was running into there for a while a lot of issues with the Kodi repo being down.
Mm-hmm.
And so I put them on there, and I just check it periodically, make sure they're up to date.
Yeah.
If they're not, the official Kodi repo still pulls the correct one.
Yes.
But I still try to keep it up to date as much as I can.
Well, even not talking the Kodi repo, but any other repo that you do need for a dependency, it's just good to have it pull from there, because now they don't have to enter URL for in File Manager and URL for that repo.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been debating. I've got a module I made for YouTube search for all the add-ons out there for YouTube that build everything inside the add-on rather than using XMLs like mine. and it lets you search just those playlists. Eventually, it's going to be null and void because the new YouTube's plugin that's in beta right now, or alpha, whichever, gives you that ability. But I made one just for being able to pass the playlist to search rather than searching all of YouTube. And I'm debating putting that in its own repo so people can just do a link to it to pull that dependency, and they don't have to worry about it adding all my other stuff to their repo.
I when I was doing the Gaia repo, I've always wondered why people actually do put, like, you know, all those other dependencies inside of the thing. And I was speaking to the people that run the Gaia, and they brought up a really valid point, and it really made sense, that there are you know, Kodi forks out there that don't have the Kodi repo in it, and it's not going to pull all the stuff they need to run theirs, and that's why they put it in theirs. But the thing I did like about their repo is that all of their dependencies that they have in there are one step behind the official.
So they made a Kodi fork without Kodi in it, pretty much, without Kodi repo.
Yeah, they pointed out there's a couple of forks out there that don't have all the dependencies built, like, inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Some people like those forks, I guess.
My guess would be because of the ones where the APK is an older version of Kodi that the current stuff wouldn't work on.
Okay.
And so they're modifying those to work on the older version of Kodi. I know there's a few out there that's done that.
Yeah.
With certain APKs where it's an older version of Kodi, but they've added some of the newer stuff to where it would still work, to where you don't have to upgrade that Kodi to like 17.6 for it to work. You can still run on their 16 APK and get those newer features that add-ons you're using.
But then again, there are some of the forks out there that are not. Like FTMC is pretty good because it tries its best to keep up to the current Kodi stuff in it, despite that it runs on a 4.4. EBMC is not so bad, but there are a couple of other folks, you know, that run on the older systems out there that actually are missing a lot of the crap in it.
Yeah.
So that is why, you know, and I was really thankful for talking to these guys over there, right? Because, you know, I hadn't really thought about that before, and these guys were one of the first repos I did a review on. And when they let me know about this, when I went back and looked at all the other repos that had all this stuff in it, and I thought to myself, okay, I'm not going to criticize them for having this. You know, why don't you just pull it from the official group thing? But like I said, if they still had it in there, almost every one of those repos that I looked at had an older version of the dependency. So it was never a threat to the public.
Yeah.
Because when you grab the older version, automatically it'll upgrade to the new version for.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you've got that Kodi repo, and it'll automatically upgrade as long as that repo's online, which is fine, especially when it comes to the official Team Kodi stuff. But just like Tever said, if it's not going to have it, they're using a fork of Kodi that doesn't link the original repo. That still gives their users a solid place to get a working version, because let's face it, if they realize that they start hearing from people from SPMC or some of these other forks that their add-on's not working in it anymore, they're going to look into it and fix it. So
maybe.
Well, maybe. Depends, you know.
All right, guys. Do we have anything else that we wanted to touch on today? I mean, you know, Blue's been pretty quiet.
Touch on Blue? What?
Ah.
Did you see where they asked about why Blamo's URL changed? I don't know if you guys wanted to.
Oh,
I saw.
Do you want me to?
Change?
I think I'm the person to. First place, let's thank all of my YouTubers, because guys, you paid for his server, you paid for his name. Thank you, guys. Cool. You rock. What had happened was TV Add-ons put out a thing about the forks, and they covered, you know, Blamo's and Team Afterbirth stuff. And if you go to that TV, I don't have the link right now where I'd bring it up, but if you go to that stuff, every single one of them says that all of Blamo's work, and in Placenta, was done by me and him. And all that went through my head was, look, okay, no, I might be in the background and help these guys and support, like, just with the repo. I have nothing to do with the add-ons. That's their work. I don't want my name on that. So, and then somebody brought up the point that, okay, so his repo before was blamo.tevers.com, so everybody figured that we were a team. But when he left Team LG, he needed a place, and I didn't want to see him go because his work was good. So I'm like, okay, I'll give you a repo on mine. And then after this whole thing with TV add-ons, I'm like, screw this. I'm getting him a domain. This is his. So that's why he's got a new URL. The old one's still working but they all point to the same place. So
if you have the old one, you're mirroring his new one.
Yeah, but he just finished telling me that he wants me to take the old one down and everybody can go and suck a big pickle.
Well, nothing wrong with that. You can give them a grace period, get the knowledge out there, and people know it's changing. And eventually we'll stop working, gives people time to update their builds, things like that.
It's been 12 hours. That's enough for him.
Well, couldn't you put a dependency in there to where it would pull the new repo? It automatically install the new repo if you up the version of his current his old repo.
Well, this is only the URL. Like, it's just where you find the zip file.
Oh.
It has nothing to do with the repo itself. Everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter where you get the zip file from. It's still going to work. And if you already have the zip file, it's going to update. But if you're a new user out there, you want to know the new address. So it's not going to affect the builders or anybody who's got the current stuff. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Good point.
Yeah. The only time that we ever had that was when we went from version 1 to version 2 because we ended up changing where the files were from 1 to 2. That was the only time where you had to download and install the new repo.
Yeah, because anytime you change actual physical locations, it does that weird hiccup in Kodi.
Yep. And it's funny because you can actually leave the file on the old place with the new information, and for some strange reason, it still doesn't work properly most of the time.
Yeah, I was running into that when I was looking at moving mine off of my domain to GitHub, and I've got all my plugins and everything for it on a GitHub, but I had to leave the repo pointing to where it was at because it was just going to be too much of a headache for people. And that was just my decision on mine. But yeah, because my host flipped out, there was evidently somebody attacking my repo domain, and my host had to rename it and put in some measures to stop it, and then they yelled at me. And
actually, before we ever get off here, but while I remember, I wanted to give a shout out to Diamond. You see him in the chat there. He's been talking to me ever since we put the repo list. I mean, him and I have talked for a long time, and I really like the dude. He's pretty, although you're still a young dude. Anyway, he came to me. Him and I have been working because he had a repo add-on, repo, which at one time was pretty horrid. But he cleaned it up himself, so he's been actually working with me to find out what was good and bad. He just released his repo back out yesterday, and I mean, despite the fact that it's got a million things in it, and it did take me a little bit long to go through it, it's pretty clean.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, this is what I mean. Like, so you get guys like Diamond who are coming, they're looking at the list, and Diamond's actually been adding things to it, is, you know, like for me to look at. So I appreciate people like that, and that's why I wanted to give him a shout out.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's like I said, there's a lot of devs out there that when they see it, they question it, and that's a good thing. You know, so they say something to us, to Tevers, and you know, he helps them, you know, understand why, and most of them are fixing it. I think we've only had one that really bucked heads with us, haven't we?
Just Carnage or Coleman or whatever name he wants to go by today.
Yeah, Mr. Unknown, Carnage, douchebag, whatever.
That's that name that should stick, douchebag. Not you, Todd.
I've got soft feelings.
But I tell you what, though, it does crack me up, his whole response, because, you know, now he's spreading my name out there, which is great.
Yeah. Oh, bad news is good news. Remember, like, what happened with Madonna that years ago when she got caught at some figure, whatever it was, or Britney Spears and Madonna kissing on stage. That made them more popular.
Oh yeah, well, just, Janet Jackson, Super Bowl. Just saying.
Yep.
I mean, it's no publicity's bad publicity. I guess is how it used to be put.
You know what? I'm gonna let you know, Tender, right now. It still amazes me that Carnage, or whatever name you want to give him, has not picked on me once about that. He just picked on you.
Yeah. He was just balls to the wall against me.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you're double standard about forking it. I'm like, dude, I didn't say anything about a fork or a clone. You're the one talking about that. I didn't say anything about your add-ons.
I'm just saying again, he never attacked me once. Not once.
No. He would take what you would say and then throw a response to me.
Yeah, exactly. That was funny. Just to let you know, Todd, Muad'Dib is definitely a bad boy. He deserved all of it.
Yeah, I try.
Well, otherwise, I guess that's it for today. If you guys don't have anything else.
Yeah, let's see here. I'm sure we could find something, but
Well, I was thinking about that moment of silence to see if Blue would show her boobs off, but not gonna happen.
Never does.
No.
So I guess then we should call that an end of a show for today. You guys want to say your goodbyes?
Goodbye, y'all. Be smart.
Be smart.
Be smart. Pay attention to what's on your box. What's in your box?
I know what's in my box.
Blue, prove it. Prove it.
What?
Prove it.
I was waiting on that.
Yeah.
Poor Blue, she gets harassed every time she joins.
Every time.
We're gonna get A-Train back on here so you can kind of divide the.
Hey, Todd knows I can hold my own.
Yeah.
All right then, guys. Thank you guys all out there for guys watching us. Us here, of course. I'll appreciate you guys being here. Love it. We love your questions. We love your comments. It's all great. Other than that, guys, peace out. Everybody, go out there, have fun. Yep. Enjoy life. Very important. Life's too short. All right.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I just want to point out the smiley faces in YouTube chat just make me look fat.
Well, yeah, start losing weight, damn it.
Oh, the missus already told me we need to do the keto diet, so that was a discussion last night, actually.
Who cooks in your house?
Huh?
Who does the cooking?
We both do. It depends on what we're fixing.
Okay.
I have my meals that she prefers and that I cook, and vice versa.
My Lego guys. Somebody's Lego guys next. Neo, I love you too. I was gonna say. So what you're saying is that you're in charge of the barbecue and the smoker.
Well, a lot of the meats, yeah. I mean, steaks. My meatloaf bombs I make. There's some chicken recipes I've got. So yeah, it's made primarily the meat.
Yeah, but the lasagna is your wife's.
Actually, yeah, she does lasagna and a few other things like that.
I love your wife more. All right, guys. Have a great day, guys. Bye for now.
Y'all have a good one.